Welcome back to the Mind Goals podcast, hosted by yours truly, Siobhan Higgins, sport and performance psychology consultant, soccer player, yoga instructor, and soccer coach. The Mind Goals podcast is a space that I hold for myself, other athletes, and other athletic personnel so that we can converse and discuss how we acquired the mindset that we have today. All with the goal in mind that any listeners or viewers can overall improve their mindset as well. So usually with my guests, I say this person was really hard to track down. I'm just going to say that every guest I have now is really hard to track down, especially if they're a pilot and a U.S. Air Force veteran. But here we have one of my former coworkers at Lululemon, Louie Zuniga.
What's up?
What's up? How are
do you
you?
do? I'm doing all right.
You.
I know, finally.
Yeah.
How many times did it take us to get here? But
a while. I mean, you know what's funny is I say it. Truly, everyone's like either like an athlete or just like doing something on the go, right?
Yeah.
And it is hard to match the schedule, get it aligned, but you were like months.
Yeah.
Because you have a pretty dense schedule with flying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and working and running.
Yes.
And I didn't mention that. So you run quite a lot. And for listeners and viewers right now, we're going to talk about how Louie runs a lot, how you really do a lot. And then I want to talk about really how you do it and the mindset behind that and your motivation. And so I'm excited to get into it.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah. And the way we start the show, I did mention it, but how we know each other. And so we never I don't really remember working shifts with you at Lululemon, but I do remember you going to the run club that Lululemon always hosted.
Yeah.
And obviously we have a lot of mutuals through Lululemon. We probably did box shifts. You know, I would do like morning stuff, night stuff during the day. Yeah. But you're still there, right? City Center location.
Yep, still there.
Another shout out. That's cool because I just had Shasha on.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
and I had Basha awesome. A while ago. Yeah. Yep. But yeah, cool place. It's really, I loved it. I feel like it's a really cool place for people to work and connect and it's flexible as well.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
They help me out.
Yeah.
Big time.
Awesome.
With my schedule.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah. I usually do boxes, so it's late night stuff, so that helps out too.
Yeah.
But I do pick up some shifts here and there from like a Saturday or something. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. So I'm like thinking, which one should we talk about first? I'm curious. You went to LA Tech, correct?
Yeah, La Tech, yep.
Awesome. And in Louisiana, I assume. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. You said La Tech. I didn't know they said it like that.
Yeah. People say LA Tech, but it's La Tech.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you? Yeah. My question is, how did you get into the Air Force? Was it?
It was actually after. Okay. I was about to graduate, and then I joined one of the Air National Guard in Louisiana. They came to one of our classes, and I didn't even know about the the Air National Guard. Growing up, I always thought I was going to be in the military in general, but then, I guess we can start from why I want to be a pilot. So this is basically where I start.
Okay, cool.
When I was in 5th grade, I grew up in San Antonio, originally born in San Antonio, and then where all my family's at. And when I was in the 1st grade, my dad got a job in Alabama, so we moved to Alabama. And for 1st through 4th grade, we were in Alabama. And when we came back to Texas, the closest we got to San Antonio was Houston, so we settled in Katy.
Okay.
And then was out in Katy 5th grade through high school, and then I went to college. But what got me the bug of flying was I visited one of my best friends in Alabama, and me and my mom and his mom met halfway, and then I stayed 2 weeks with him, and then I came back. And when I came back on an airplane, and that was the first time ever flying on an airplane, and they gave me like the pamphlet. I still have it to this day.
Oh wow!
And then they gave me, they showed me the cockpit and everything. And ever since then, I got off the plane and I told my parents I want to be a pilot. And so I'm the only one in the family, and we didn't know. And so they're like, okay, well we'll figure it out, and you got to study hard and do all this stuff. So I was like, okay. And so 5th grade on, I knew what I wanted to do, and all my teachers knew, and still keep in touch with some of those teachers. And I actually just spoke to one the other day, and it was cool that they saw my like flying stories, and like, oh my gosh, you're doing it. Yeah, I was like, yeah.
That is really cool because as somebody who didn't know what I wanted to do for like a really long time, and I envied people that just knew from a young age. And good for you for sticking to it. Yeah.
So from 5th grade on, and so I thought I was going to be in the military. I had a family in the military, so I was like, okay, I'll go to the military, fly in the military. And then I got to high school and like close to graduation, and I was like realizing it's super competitive, and then you're not guaranteed to fly. So I was like, I want to guarantee that I'm going to fly. So we looked into the college route, and I was looking for universities and stuff. And one of the, I think maybe my 11th year or junior year or senior year, right before that, me and my dad went to visit colleges and stuff, and that was pretty cool. And then we landed in La Tech, and when I showed up there, it was like, when I did the campus tour, it was like family, and it was so cool. And like that's a big thing about La Tech. And I was like, yep, that's my forever family there. Yeah. And I went there and then graduated, and I was getting close to graduation, and that's when one of the Air National Guard of Louisiana came through, and I was like, oh. And then I joined that. So I was in that for 6 years. That's in Belchase, Louisiana, which is like south of New Orleans.
Okay. What is that program? Well, also 2 questions. One, what did you end up studying at La Tech?
Professional aviation. So it's a bachelor's degree in professional aviation. So it's all built into it. So you're flying for your first years, you get your private, and then you go to instrument and commercial, and you progress through that. But it's always built in. And then there's a minor built into that, which is aviation management. So you can go into like running an FBO or, different things like that, flight school or...
Very cool. Yeah. Okay, awesome. And so then you entered what did you call it? Sorry.
Louisiana Air National Guard. So it's the Air Force. Okay. Yeah, it's the Air Guard. But for Louisiana, it's specifically. But you still go. Yeah, I did that for 6 years. Okay.
What is the path? What is the flight? I said I was going to make so many puns. What was the flight path to getting to being a pilot? Like what year, what point do you become a pilot and you're able to?
So you'll be a pilot the first year, like technically. So you get your private, in college. Cool. So you get your private pilot license. So you get it's licenses and certificates. So you get your private pilot license when you're first there, and then you move on to instrument rating, which is flying in the clouds. So first is VFR private pilot. So you have to be able to see outside, stay away from the clouds, and then basically that way. And then once you get your instrument, kind of built into that is adding your instrument rating is you can fly in the clouds. So it gives you more leniency. Like it doesn't have to be a perfect day to fly. You can go into the weather and stuff like that and get you to a place. Okay. And then from there, you get your commercial rating, which is basically you can just get paid to fly. Okay. Not necessarily like commercial, like airlines, but get paid for flying. So if you had somebody who wanted to pay you, whatever, as long as it's a single engine, and then you can build in your multi-engine. So then that means you can fly with 2 engines. Okay. And then from there, we went to Certified Flight Instructor, CFI, and that's teaching people how to fly private, like so small planes. And that's how you build your hours. Okay, very cool. And since I went to an accredited university with the FAA, they allow to only have to get 1,000 hours before you get hired on by an airline. Okay. Whereas if you didn't go through like an accredited university, or Part 141 is what it's called, then you would have to get 1,500 hours as the minimum before you get hired on by an airline, and then go that way. Okay. Yeah. Dang. Wow. So I got it with only having to get 1,000 hours. So I flight instructed for about 2 years after I graduated. So I graduated with maybe like 250 hours. And then the rest of that was flight instructing. So I did that for about 2 years in Hammond, Louisiana, which is north of New Orleans. Okay. So you stayed in Louisiana for quite some time then. Yeah. So I was like from Louisiana. I was when I turned 18, when I basically senior year till 27-ish. Wow. Oh man. So that's not home base for you, is it? What? Louisiana. No. I live here. Yeah. I live here. So I moved. So after that, after I built my hours to 1,000 hours, I moved back here to Houston, and that was right before Hurricane Harvey, like maybe a week or so in August. Yep. And so I moved here back home with my parents. Yeah. To do applications for an airline. And so with the airline, I went to different airlines, and I got an interview and got the job. And so the first place I was going to be based was in Pittsburgh. Whoa. So I moved up to Pittsburgh, but then we announced that we're going to have a Houston base, a crew base. And so that's how you kind of get your base is based on where their crew bases are. Okay. I didn't realize that. So I thought that... I thought that if you're a pilot for a commercial airline, is that what it was that you're trying to get? Yeah. Okay. That you just, I guess, stayed at home, but then flew everywhere and then came back home. Yeah. Well, you can do that, which is what I do now, because I'm actually technically based in Chicago. right now.
Okay.
We closed our Houston base back in 2020, like 2021, right after COVID.
Gotcha.
And so our crew bases for our company, we closed our Houston base. Now there's a rumor that we're going to get another Houston base soon. So hopefully, but yeah.
That would make sense why you're always in Chicago.
Yeah. So Chicago is my base. So I start my trips and end my trips in Chicago.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Dang. I have so many more questions, but I want to stick to, before I get into like the more fun stuff, I want to stick to like the route and like how you got there. And I guess we know why you want to become a pilot, but once you became one, I mean, was it everything you ever wanted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm living a dream. So I'm like not working. That's the biggest thing for me. Like,
That's how it feels.
Yeah. Like I don't work, or I don't, when you don't have, what is it, the saying, like,
I mean, when you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Exactly. You don't work a day in your life. Yeah. Basically how I feel.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
Wow. What do you love about it?
I don't know. I guess when I'm flying, and that's kind of what got me into running, because I didn't get into running until when I moved back here. So I moved up to Pittsburgh for about 6 months, and then we announced that we got a Houston base. So I moved back to Houston, and from there, that's when I started. I had to kind of, because I've been gone from Houston since high school, really. So I was 27, 29 at this point in that age group. And so I was just meeting people now back in Houston at my hometown. But, and so I used the run clubs for that.
Okay, to meet people.
To
it's
meet
like a
people,
social thing.
yeah.
Well, we might as well talk about it because you're in a run club. And just for people listening, first of all, I'm pretty sure
running clubs.
pretty sure you're fast, not just running. You're fast at running, isn't?
Yeah, I mean it's all relative, but yes, I am pretty quick. I would say.
Did you run the Houston Marathon?
Yes.
What did you run it in?
Well, Houston, I did. My fastest in Houston was 3:13, but my fastest PR marathon at the Woodlands was 2:55.
That's incredible.
So about 6:40 something pace.
So yes, everyone listening, that's fast.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I'm quick.
Yeah.
Okay, and so how'd you get into running?
My sister, which is not a runner, she actually worked at Lululemon, and then another Rebecca, she worked there, and she was like, "Hey, we're starting a run club at City Center again. You should come." And so I came. I think it was like 2 weeks before Christmas, and they were doing their tour drive, and I was like, "Okay, let's go." And it was like rainy, so I was like, "Okay, this is a good time to go," because it was cold, rainy, and I was like, whoever shows up is like, they're gonna be there.
Yeah.
All the time. And so I showed up and met like my family. My running family has been growing ever since. It's been pretty amazing, actually.
Love that. Go ahead and plug the run club. What's it called?
City Center Run Club was there. Yep.
Yeah.
Right where I started, and they're still going strong.
How do people join?
You just show up, really.
What days?
Monday, 6 o'clock.
AM?
PM.
PM. Okay.
PM.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, some people it's before work. You could get a workout in before you have to go.
And I go to different run clubs. So like I have one now every day of the week, basically. So that's good for me, because I like sometimes I'm not in town, or so for flying wise, it's for me is perfect.
Is that the Freaks Run Club?
Freaks Run Club is on Fridays. Yep, we started that in 2020.
Oh my gosh, how many run clubs are you in?
Like I don't know, multiple.
All of them?
Yeah, not all of them, but yeah. There's been growing there's one every day popping up now.
Yeah.
And Houston is amazing running community.
I think it's
so
good.
You can find one if you need one.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I think I ran with them once at the little as a I came back from somewhere and I was like, you know what, why not? They're here all the time. I like live nearby. I might as well try it out.
Yeah.
And I don't not like to run. I don't know. That's probably what I'll move into next.
Yeah, it's like what got me into running basically was the same way as I feel when I'm flying. So when you fly and you get it, once I get up there, it's just like quiet. There's actually it does get busy with the radios and everything. But for me, it's just like nothing else matters in the world.
Yeah, it's just
like
peace.
None of your problems, you're just up there. Especially when you're in the small planes and just learning how to fly, and you just get up there and just like.
Okay, that's awesome. And now we're going to jump back to flying, because I love that you said that, because I would call that like a flow state of mind whenever you're just like, you're focused, right? Obviously, like you're not worried about too many things. You said nothing matters. And like, that's why people do what they love, right? Whether they run, they play a sport, because they get there and they feel like everything else doesn't matter and it's all like calm and peaceful, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, surely at times maybe like the radio, or there's, you'll probably have to divert.
Yeah.
Like
We
physically.
actually almost had to divert.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
2 days ago.
Yeah, I was about to say there's storms and everything.
Yeah.
And Chicago's windy.
Yeah. Chicago's always windy, so
Yeah.
I guess some good landings there.
So I mean that's probably another thing that you love about it as well, like that. I wouldn't call it like a runner's high, right? Like, yeah,
Basically, yeah.
So then, flying, what would you say the equal saying of that is?
I don't know.
We could come up with something.
Yeah, we can come up by the end of the day. I'll tell you.
Something about cruising, maybe. I don't know.
Make it to cruise altitude.
Make it to cruise altitude.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I love that. And now I'm like envisioning we're up in the air.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Yeah, we were just taking off. We were texting now.
Yes.
Now we're starting to get to cruise altitude.
All right, cool. So tell me, I want to get into moments where, because it takes a lot of concentration and focus, and like not anyone can fly a plane.
Yeah.
Is it true? I don't know if this is a myth or not. Do you have to have like a certain type of vision to fly a plane?
Corrected. So 2020.
Okay.
So you can wear glasses as long as you can. It's 2020.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
It used to, like, military. No, it used to be like super strict, but now there's a waiver. So you just on your medical certificate. So you get your pilot certificate, and then you get medical certificates. On your medical certificate, it'll say as long as you're wearing glasses, corrected for 2020.
Gotcha.
And you have to have those while you fly.
Yeah. Kind of like if people are driving, you need to,
Exactly.
which they should.
Yeah.
Getting crazy out there in the streets. Okay, well, actually, I do remember something else. Whenever you were in the Air Force, first of all, where were you based? You mentioned it was in Louisiana?
Yeah, Belle Chase. So I was a crew chief on F-15 in Belle Chase.
And
I didn't fly.
Okay, what does that entail? Like, what did the program look like? How long were you in there for? And really, like, what did you do?
So basically maintenance.
Okay.
I launched recover. So you see the guys that are like launching them out and doing like the maintenance before, the walk-arounds before. I did that for F-15.
How important would you say that role is?
Very important. And especially because like we would sign off the logbooks and everything to make sure that, so when that pilot comes out, we're the last ones saying that this plane is good to go.
Yeah.
They barely do any walk around. They're putting all their trust in us. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I think that, the more that, I think in the past year, the more that I've heard of like, commercial airlines, there's been a lot of accidents. People, you want to read all these articles and listen to whatever they're saying. But I'm trying to pinpoint, like, actually there are many places where things could go wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone needs to be.
Endless amounts of variables in flying in general.
Yeah.
So when people so you're flying in the air in a metal tube for going 500 miles an hour across, the country, and people are worried about their Wi-Fi not working and stuff. So,
yeah.
It could be, you're in the air going 500 miles an hour in a metal tube.
Yeah. And
then and other things like delays and stuff. So, we can have, like, it could be a perfect sunny day here in Houston, but our plane is coming from New Orleans, and it's raining in New Orleans right now. And so our plane is not going to be able to take off there. So now it's going to put our delay in, right? So our flight's delayed. So it finally gets to us. Well, all those other airplanes were supposed to be going out too, so they land there. Maybe there's not a gate because the delay. And now, so they finally get there, and then everyone gets in Houston. But this plane was supposed to be in Chicago 2 hours ago, and so now Chicago's behind too. So there's just always variables, endless variables, and then maintenance happens and stuff like that. So when you go travel, it's just got to be
what advice would you give people?
Prepared to be delayed. So if everything goes smoothly, then that is a good day.
Right. Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy because a lot of times it actually does go pretty smoothly most days.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm trying to think. I've flown quite a lot. I've traveled. I've lived in different places, gone at like a lot of places, to be honest. And I've had like my fair share of travel.
Delays or whatever.
Changes or whatever. And I find it so like absurd how people just amaze me all the time. But it's like these are things out of your control, out of the airline's control. It is truly like weather, it's maintenance, it's things that I don't know, like a bird flew somewhere and did something. I don't know actually. Yeah. But I really don't know.
A lot of times it's out of is out of the control
Yeah.
of anybody.
Yeah.
And so you kind of go, that's like a mindset too, patience. And that's one big thing for me is, you know, I'm pretty chill
Yeah.
quite a bit. So kind of things I can't control, it just goes over and you got to move on, keep moving forward.
It's true. It really is true. I mean, otherwise you're going to drive yourself crazy.
Exactly.
And
then
waste
you're
all
going to
your
be,
energy.
exactly. And then the negative energy feeds on other negativity
yes.
feeds. So I'm always positive for the most part.
Yeah. Good. I mean, I wonder, like, from you as a pilot, honestly, what type of PSA, or what would you say, please, people flying, like, please do this or don't do this?
I think in general, just that, like, just be patient, because I mean, there's nothing we can do, and then trust us. We want to be home too, and we want to be where we want to be on time, because if we don't get there on time, then that cuts our night short too for the next day.
Right.
So we want to get there, and so if we say we're not going or it's delayed because we're delaying whatever reason for maintenance, just put all your trust in them and know that, okay, this is, especially if a pilot's telling you, hey, we're not gonna go because we're checking this out.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, for sure, check that out.
Yeah, right?
If you think it, then definitely.
Why would you want to force that? Like, let's
Exactly.
think logically about this, guys. I just want everyone to hear this. I know.
But I have to be at a wedding.
I know.
Like, yes, I know. But.
It happens.
And then a lot of the like accidents and stuff, like for like privately and in general, it's the get home-itis kind of thing, where people will push the weather. Usually it's weather related, because most, I think 85% of accidents are pilot error.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait,
and
sorry,
human
how
error.
many?
Like 85%. Or more.
Pause. If you are scared of flying, please turn this episode off now. Continue.
Yeah. So it's really, if any pilot ever says, hey, no, we're checking this out, just go. Just believe him and trust them that I also want to get home, but I also want to get home to my family. So we have families. Everyone has families, like pilot-wise, and they want to be at home too. So if we're not going for some reason, then there's no point to get yourself worked up, because there's nothing we can do.
So you said 85%?
Probably 85%, yep.
Holy cow. And so, we definitely want to get that checked out. We're going to put our trust in them, fix it, move on. What do you, this is a silly question. What do you think about the people who stand up as soon as the plane?
That's so annoying.
Okay.
Because I deadhead, or I'm in the back waiting to, like, when I'm going to, like, going to Chicago or coming home, and everyone, like, as soon as where are you going? You're not going nowhere.
and what is it? Yeah, I mean,
and then it just makes it take everyone else takes longer. Because then people have to, like, shuffle and
agree.
Just sit down and wait to.
Yeah, just be in time. Like, go with the flow, right?
Yeah.
And be ready whenever it comes your turn.
Exactly.
Oy. What about, okay, so in Europe, I've flown there quite a lot. I don't know if you have. Or just,
No.
No? Okay, well, some of the planes, they have exits in the back. Well, actually, do they all have exits in the back? I should know this.
Yes, they have. So there's usually 4, so 2 on each side. But then, like, the bigger the plane is, they have multiple. Yeah.
Okay.
So like some of the longer ones, they have 2 in the front.
Yes.
So 2 exits. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm saying
Usually wide body airplanes.
Gotcha. So for like boarding and deplaning, why don't we use the back in
those are usually for the catering companies come in that way, and then also just for exits. Those are like emergency exits. So those, like, the slides will come down. They don't have jet bridges that go up to those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like when the plane parks, the jet bridges are in the front usually.
Okay, I see.
So that's why everyone comes in the front. So there might be 2 entries in the front for like the big planes. But those back ones are only for emergency exits, and then like the catering trucks come in that way.
Okay, I see. Where is the safest place on a plane?
I've heard different ones. The very, very back.
Seat
maybe.
11A, like that.
I know. Yeah, that was wild. I saw that.
Sorry, where do you think though?
Probably the back.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, if you're going down, you're gonna. Yeah, it's not gonna make a difference. But when you look at like plane crashes and stuff, the tails, you usually see the tail.
Yeah, you're right, because it will nose dive.
Everything else is just. But I don't think it really matters that much.
So the back's not so bad after all.
Yeah,
You sit in the back. I've seen your story.
Yeah, it's because usually it's the last thing that's left.
Oh, okay.
Or the middle seat, usually.
Oh, man. Okay, fair enough. What do you, I mean, as a pilot, right?
The middle, too. I said exit rows.
Yeah.
Is what we get usually.
My back couldn't take that. But I guess if it's safer, I'll do it. You tell me.
No, I don't
For
know.
a friend. What, I mean, given the, I guess, I don't know if it's just been more public in the past year or so, but given the
just like
plane
anything,
crashes.
the news likes chaos. So
Yeah.
when when there's something, it's always going to be. So like, I mean, there's hundreds and thousands of planes flying every day, but you only hear about that one little thing. And then whenever one of those, now you're hearing about them all the time.
Yeah.
It definitely is on an uptick, I guess.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, aviation is by far the safest route of transportation.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah.
Not even close.
I mean, I'm not scared to fly. It's just.
No, I get it too.
Yeah. Just, I understand. I mean, it is like different. Some people are nervous. Some people get like plane anxiety. Some people don't understand. I mean, it is like if you didn't grow up flying, then it's foreign to you and it's like weird. And it's like, how does this even, honestly, how is a plane even getting up in the air right now? Like,
yeah.
Well, how is
and that's kind of crazy because thinking about it, like the first time, that was the first time I flew when I was in 5th grade. And then the next time I flew an airplane I was flying the plane.
Are you serious?
In college, yeah.
Wait, that
so
is
I never
really cool.
I never traveled. We just like road tripped and stuff, but I never traveled as a kid.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, the next time I flew was when I was at my first flight lesson at Louisiana Tech.
Oh my gosh, that's really cool. That's actually I think that's crazy.
Actually, we did a discovery flight in Iowa, but yeah.
Okay.
But still, it was like when I was
like 2-3 times. Yeah.
Yeah, it was still when I was in college, basically.
Oh my gosh! Wow. And you love it.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness! What does your family think about it? They get worried.
They're super proud. No, I mean, I don't know. Really, my girlfriend does. She got nervous a lot of the time, and she's a nervous flyer, and so she hates flying in general too.
Oh, no.
So, but yeah, I think she was more the nervous one. My parents, I guess, I don't know.
Proud
I don't
of you.
think so. They're very proud. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm proud of you.
For
It's
sure.
a very cool thing to do. So, I mean, it's first of all, it's not easy. So
yeah,
that's a really big accomplishment also. And you're helping so many people.
For sure.
And yourself. Yeah. What would you say to an aspiring pilot that is...
Don't give up. And it's going to, don't give up because there's going to be pitfalls. It's just like any sport or anything. You're just going to be failures and or hard times that you think, oh man, there's no way I can do this. Because there was times for me, like I thought too. Mm-hmm. And so you just just build on each day. Just build on each day and then take those lessons and grow from them. And then having I had the best flight instructors and support system in general that helped me continue going. And
what were some difficult moments for you while you were learning to fly, or maybe even your first year or two?
I guess because being homesick, because I'm really close to my family. Mm-hmm. So being homesick that first year was pretty tough.
How often were you flying? Like every day? I don't know.
I think we were scheduled like either 2 or 3 times a week, maybe more. But so we had classes too. So we would go to classes during the day and then we would go fly in the afternoon or fly in the morning and then afternoon classes throughout the first year and throughout many years, actually, all 4 years, really.
Okay, so quite a lot.
Yeah.
Being homesick.
The more you fly, the faster you can get the ratings done. So that's important too.
Okay. And
then also, because you want consistency, you don't want to take off time from flying because then you'll have to learn what you like. So say you flew one time this week and then you don't fly again until next week, then that time
you have a week of things to catch up on.
Yeah, basically you'll have to just relearn and because it's a skill. So flying once you get up there and just, doing all the maneuvers and stuff. It's just a skill. So you got to keep building on that skill every day, really.
That's really fascinating. I've never really, I should probably know this, but I never viewed it that way. So you would say it's like muscle memory as well.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It truly
everything.
is.
And it's multitasking and, situational awareness, knowing where, because you're working the radios too. So you're working the radios, trying to learn how to fly and a lot of times what it's called, we get you behind the aircraft. So, the first couple of days you're trying to remember and like instead of it just being natural. Mm-hmm. So like now, like the plane just feels like an extra limb to me.
Okay. But
whereas before, when you're starting in the beginning, it's like I'm trying to figure out all these things, and the radio guys calling, and the ATC's telling you to do this. There's an aircraft over here, and so that's what the instructor is there to kind of help with that, basically. Okay. So he's teaching you, and then he's also having the situational awareness of everywhere around us too.
Okay, that's good. Obviously, they don't.
Yeah.
They don't release you from the training wheels yet.
No, yeah. So actually, you get to solo a plane before you get your license multiple times, actually.
Okay.
So you build up that first portion of your private license is building up to solo. So your first solo is you go up in the traffic pattern and land 3 times. So you go up, land, taxi back, take off, land, taxi back, land. And that's your solo. And then they cut your shirt and put some art on it and you frame it. And That's your first solo, yeah.
What year did that happen for you? You seem to be good with dates.
I used to be. Now it's...
You literally dropped dates.
Like I know. Now you're putting me on the spot.
You were like the first week of August in 2018. Okay. 2017.
Yeah. So I think it was February 2nd, 2011, 20 something like that, 2010.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah, see, I knew you'd have a simple idea. All right, awesome. Okay, actually, I do have a question. For the beginning of, like, when you first started, did you have any, like, fears or were you nervous at the beginning?
Yeah, I was actually the very, very first flights, I actually was, like, getting motion sickness. And I had never gotten, I love, like, roller coasters and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was, like, I think I was just nervous, and then I got hot, so I was
nauseous.
Like, yeah. And then we're doing like maneuvers and turning and stuff, and so like the first couple of flights, it was like, oh man, can I do this? Mm-hmm. And so we kind of put your air on your face, and then as those days get better, like you build those days, and you get the confidence of okay, now I'm not thinking about like the power and like everything's becoming more familiar. Mm-hmm. And so now you're not freaking out over every little thing. And so I kind of can breathe, and now it's like.
So you would say like you built that confidence just by going through it and like just practicing.
Practice make perfect, basically.
Yeah, it really does. I try to, because I talk to athletes and people who perform, but it's trying to help people overcome a fear or overcome nerves is a little difficult because you almost have to go through it again and again until you become.
What I also do is chair fly. So chair flying and basically memorizing everything or visualizing it while you're doing it for the next day.
Do you still do that to this day?
Yeah, sometimes.
Wow.
Not as much as obviously as I used to, but especially when we're going it through training and stuff. So I have a paper tiger of the whole cockpit, and I'm basically doing call outs and stuff I have to, and I do the training every year. Mm-hmm. So I just got done with that actually 2 weeks ago, or maybe like last week.
Oh wow! So again, lined up with that post I put up.
So I did all the training for that. So we did engine fires and engine stuff and single engine approaches and call outs, wake turbulence and wind shear, all kinds of stuff.
Very cool.
But all those emergency stuff comes with call outs that we have to know like by memory. Like those should be just second natural, in which they are as long as we practice. But once we go back to the line and just flying every day and nothing happens, it's just normal. Then when something happens, it just revert back to our training, and it just feels natural, and then you just go back to it.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, there's a lot. It seems like there's a lot of like memorization, but probably so much practice to where you don't really have to memorize it, and it just comes to you.
It just comes natural. Yeah. And then also for us, big things is checklists. So we're definitely a checklist one. Yeah.
You got to be, right? You have to. It's very structured, and there's literally an order and a way to do it.
Exactly.
Okay. Man. Who do you think, or what type of people, if you were to like generalize pilots, what type of person do you need to be your pilot? Or is it
what is it? Type A? What's type A?
A type A?
What is that like?
Someone who's a little
structured.
Yeah, structured. They need structure.
Yeah.
They
organized.
Definitely it's like super organized. They can multitask. I would say they're like not not stressed out a lot of the time, but they can be. Like things have to be done a certain way at a certain time. Otherwise, there's disorder in their schedule, and then that causes distress.
Maybe a little bit, but you have to be, for us, definitely adaptable. So everything's changing all the time. So we have to be able to adapt to changes and be ready to go.
And be calm, cool, and collected about it.
Exactly.
You know what? The more I hear you talk, you sound like a pilot.
Yeah.
It's a good voice.
Calm, cool, collected.
Yes, that's the way we want our pilots.
Yeah. Yeah, because you'll be hearing, I mean, you can hear it on those YouTube channels, like, you know, when they're doing an emergency and they're just, yeah, we need to do this, we need to do that. And
we would never know, especially with like the
there's
words
an engine on fire.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Engine fire is really not that big a deal, as long as there's one, because there's another one, and the plane can fly perfectly fine with one engine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How
often? Not very. I mean, not very often as much. I mean.
And what does an engine fire mean? I'm assuming that it goes out.
Yeah, so it could be, you know, it ingested a bird, or anything can really, something wrong with the plane. So there's different things that can happen with the engine.
Have you ever had, I guess, a scary moment flying, maybe as a passenger or as a pilot?
We've done, like, I guess weather probably is the biggest things for us, mainly. I mean, we almost had to divert last week because of we went to Miami and was going back up to Richmond, I think, or Norfolk, Virginia. And there was a storm that was like right over the field, so we kind of slowed down and hoped that it would move off. And as soon as we got on final, basically they spread out to where we landed perfect.
Okay, nice.
With those aspects coming in, we were already thinking, okay, so if we get past this point, we're gonna go to Raleigh for our diversion, or if we got past this point, we're probably gonna go up. What our original time was gonna be, I think, Richmond actually. Okay. And so depending on where the weather was at going and if it moved off in time, but yeah.
Who manages you guys? I think I wouldn't know what it was called. Who? The air traffic control.
ATC, yep.
Oh yeah, got it. So when there's bad weather, they have a busy day.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have to kind of move people around.
Exactly. And they gotta kind of move people, and then they gotta, so if someone's like in different things, their ATC they're overworked a lot. Mm-hmm. And that's a stressful job. So that's one of the most stressful jobs that you can have.
Yeah.
For, like, I think it's ATC, cops, and it just goes from there. But yeah, so ATC has to control what our speed could be, you know, if we have to hold to get people in. So there's flows. And so when you hear like, we're delayed because of flow into Newark, which is a lot of the time. Okay. Because I'm based in the Northeast, so I'm doing a lot of Northeast stuff and East Coast.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so going to New York, the busiest airspace in the world almost, and so there's always a delay into Newark or something.
In Newark, yeah. You know what? There is one time. This is a sad story. My dad missed a flight out of Newark going to Scotland to come watch me play in like a really big game. And yeah, he missed it and he was pissed. And obviously, there's nothing you can do, but he hates Newark Airport.
Yeah, no. I think a lot of people hate Newark Airport.
Yeah. I was gonna ask
LaGuardia actually kind of has gotten better because it's.
What is it about the airports that make it bad or good or more favorable for you?
For me, well, I guess because LaGuardia is so congested, and so it used to be even worse than what it is now since they did the terminal. The terminal now is beautiful.
Yeah.
And the way that they designed it was absolutely perfect for the space that they're in. Because they're in basically concrete jungle.
Yeah.
And having an airplane and having an airport there is super difficult. Uh-huh. And they designed it to where the bridges go over so that planes can go under. Mm. And so there's more, so they're using that space, their land of space that they have ultimately.
More effectively.
Way more effectively.
Wow.
Which helps like the flow of traffic and getting in and getting out.
Gotcha.
Whereas before, there's only one way in and way out. And so we'd have to, either when you land, you have to wait for someone to go out and then you can go. And so certain areas in like Chicago, there's only one way out. So it can get backed up.
Yeah.
But a lot of other places where they have, all the land, then you can both it's much more smoother.
What are your favorite airports? Maybe like top 3 and why?
Top 3.
You're allowed to say this? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah, top 3. I guess Houston.
Woo!
Yeah, because I'm going home.
Okay. Yeah.
And then Chicago also because I'm finishing, so O'Hare is where I'm based at.
Okay.
I don't know what else.
Could be a nice airport. What do you think about Charlotte?
It's not great.
I know, yeah.
And they had it's always weird there too. There's always weird stuff going on.
What do you think about
like,
Orlando?
Traffic. Orlando, I haven't gone there really.
Okay.
I've flown it. I've been there, but I haven't actually flown in there a lot, so I don't have to deal with it.
You were saying weird things happen in Charlotte.
In Charlotte,
like
just the way the land is like, I guess ATC and ground controls it. There's like it got quirks and stuff. I like Atlanta. Atlanta is the busiest airport, but is run the smoothest.
I like
so Atlanta is
airport.
probably the best.
Yeah.
In that aspect,
I think it's been rated the best, like consistently.
Flying in, flying out for how busy it is, being the busiest airport.
Yeah.
It is run like almost
really
to perfection.
Well.
Yeah.
Awesome. Go Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
What? Oh man, I was gonna break it. Just escaped my mind. I was gonna ask you about. No, not advice with flying.
Running is my main thing.
Yeah.
Running marathons and stuff.
Yes. I was going to ask you about that because, well, how do you... yes, no, the question I wanted to ask you about running,
How do I fit in running?
Yes, how do you fit in running? And how do you, like, where does this motivation come from? Like, why do you want to run? Why do you wake up and say, I'm going to have to run a day? Or do you, like, have to run a certain amount of miles? Otherwise, you don't feel, like, healthy. You don't feel like you have a clear mind.
I think a little bit of both. Yeah. I think adding the races to it puts on like, okay, I need to run. Because,
a little more motivation.
But when I don't run, also I think just health wise and mindful wise and mindfulness, and that it like when I go for a run, it just feels so good.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to run fast. I can run slow, or headphones. I usually wear headphones and listen to music. So usually I have the headphones on and there's nothing on. It's just so.
That's so people don't talk to you?
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
Yeah.
How many miles would you say you run a day?
A day, it depends really. Weekly, I'd probably be around 30 when I'm not training for anything.
Gotcha.
So I do the run club, so it's like 4 miles, 3 miles, 4 miles. Yeah,
here and there.
And then I usually do a long run on the weekend. So that could be from 10 to 18.
Okay. So you probably, I guess if I'm understanding correctly, you don't need motivation. You just like to run. That's your form of workout. Like, would you rather run than go to the gym or run than
definitely
play volleyball or something, like pickleball? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I started as a baseball player, so I played baseball all my life. I did basketball through middle school. Did like football 1 year in middle school. I did tennis 1 year in middle school, and then I did baseball all through high school, and then I did intramurals in college. But then I got into running when I got here and just fell in love with it.
Wow. So
then I ended up, so like my progression from I had never run a race, and then in 2019 I started running, and I did my first marathon a month and a half after starting running. And the farthest I had run was 8 miles.
You just ripped the Band-Aid off. Wait, really? So like before that training, like it wasn't much training, you just did it?
Yeah, I just did.
How was it?
Run club basically. I did good. So like my goal was sub 2 hours, and I did 1:53, I think.
For a half
marathon.
Okay,
yeah.
And
awesome. And then my first marathon was 2020 Houston Chevron, and my goal was 4 hours for my first marathon, and I did 3:53.
Awesome.
Also, so
wow. I have
and the farthest I had run before my first marathon was a half marathon, so 13 miles.
Dang. Even
so
in
I didn't really
training?
train from that first marathon. I really didn't train, and then I got my first marathon in, and then was like real serious about it, and ever since then I really.
What does your training look like now? Do you follow the app? There's like an app that.
Run app. I have Run.
Is it Run app?
Yeah, there's Run app.
And it tells you like what you need to run, which days. It like breaks it down for you.
Yeah.
Okay. And you stick to that, and you would suggest people stick to it, like you would advise people to.
Yeah, I mean it works for people who don't have a coach. If you want to get serious, like I probably should get a coach because when I was bringing up, I wanted to Boston qualify, and it took me 4 years to do it or 3 years to do it.
Wow.
And I'm on my 9th marathon total. I think I've done, but I really trained for it, and I was hitting a plateau of 3:13 in the marathon, and I was like, there's no way I can do. Like after the first marathon, I did 350 something, and I was like, "There's no way I can do 330. Like that's impossible."
Yeah.
And then
And
the
you
next
did it.
one I did 330, and then the next one after that 319, and then 315.
What do you think that says like to you, or what did you gain from that? Because there's so many people, like, just to apply this across the board of life, like people think, like, you thought, no, I'm never gonna be able to do that, you did it. I'm never gonna be able to do that, and you did it. You're constantly breaking your own barriers. But what, like,
I think building the building blocks like slowly.
Yes.
Don't eat an elephant. You can't eat an elephant in one bite. So I think basically that kind of thing, just chip away at the rock. Just chip away at the rock. It's not that last 100 hit that broke it. It's the 99 that came before it. So,
yes.
I think that's my biggest thing on that.
Definitely. And so right now, I don't remember what you said at the very beginning. Your fastest, or
255.
255. What are you aiming for next?
I'm trying to get back to 255
Okay.
because that was 2023, I think. So
Okay.
at the Woodlands, or 2024.
Okay.
Something like that.
Have you bumped into any like injuries along the way?
Surprisingly, no.
Oh, sorry.
I've had like little things, but nothing like major. So I think my form was key on that, and being an athlete, I think helped with that. But no injuries major ever really.
Okay.
I
good.
think when you would start getting the injuries, it's just like technique of running and that kind of thing, and
right.
not being used to the amount of weight going down and the way you're landing and stuff. I think that gets people too.
Yeah.
Especially
for sure.
when you're first starting running.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So good advice to just have someone look at your running form.
Or running form,
shoes.
coaches, or shoes. Definitely shoes make a huge difference
Yes.
in running.
What are your favorite shoes right now to run in?
Oh man, I have so many. So racing, I do the Alpha Fly, usually Nike Alpha Fly.
Okay.
And then for everyday running, I'm in the Asics usually.
Why is that? Like,
there's different ones. There's Saucony and foams, and different, like, you want to be like, when you do everyday trainers, there's different foams that you want, and I like more cushion during my longer runs and slower runs.
okay, right, because it's not like a race.
And then for like my race ones, they got some cushion in it, but they also have a carbon plate, and they're super light. So the carbon plate kind of propels you forward and
helps out a little more. Yeah, I guess I would wonder why you wouldn't like race in the same shoes that you train in.
Yeah, you don't want to. You don't want to be in a carbon plated shoe all the time, because
Okay.
that can also lead to injuries too.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. And I see like people all the time in like super shoes, and it's not that healthy.
Yeah.
But
What do you do for speed training if you do that?
well, actually, I didn't do it, and that was a thing I needed to improve on, was speed training, like on the track and doing those kind of workouts, and then nutrition.
Yes.
Because I always cramped at mile 21 is like on the queue right through in Houston Chevron, it's the second tunnel
Oh man.
on Washington. I was like, here it comes. I'm like, no. So
Where
like
do you
there's
cramp?
1 year I didn't, or actually the only year I didn't do it was at Woodlands, and I felt great the entire time. So my intake was great the night before, and it's usually the week before. You gotta like start, hydrating and getting those nutrients in there before, because it's not, if you're cramping, it's too late at that point. So at that point, I'm just trying to finish.
Ah, dang.
And so like I was like at a 6:30 pace throughout the whole 20 miles, and then you get there and I drop down to like a 9.
Yeah, for sure. Because
And
you're like, okay.
now it's just trying to finish, and so that's why I got the 3:15 time.
Were you cramping everywhere? Or is it just like a
No,
calf, a
it's
quad,
usually
something?
is my left quad,
Really?
or left hamstring, and then like right above my knee.
Yeah,
It's-
the quad.
it's- yeah.
Dang. Okay. So nutrition is a really big factor. I mean, I know this, but you heard him a week before at least.
Yeah.
This is for people who have games and
Building-
performances. If you have some sort of big event, not the day or two before is going to help out. You need to be preparing for a week
Yeah.
at least, to be honest. And I'm talking to myself too.
No, that's my biggest thing. Hydrate.
Yeah.
I was on the Air Force. Every 30 minutes, a thing goes off. Hydrate, and everyone.
Oh,
drinks.
really?
Yeah.
That's good. So back to running, and I was gonna ask this. What do you think about when you run? Is it different all the time? And let's focus more on like race day, right? So race day, what do you think? What's going through your mind? Are you listening to music?
Race day, man. Race day is kind of different because I won't start with music, especially like in a marathon, because like you want to feel the crowd and like it just like it might be even low, but I don't even notice the music if I was on. So the first, mainly for the marathon, it's always preparation. So like I'm trying to making sure that I'm drinking, because the biggest thing is at the marathon is intaking when early on. Okay. So you don't feel it, you don't need it, but you need to do it. Gotcha. Even though you don't feel it or you need to.
So you just need to
like even if I don't want to, yeah, exactly. Okay. And so like most people have their, they get their gel, but right before the race, they start with the gel, and then the first 5K they're on another gel, like all the way through.
Okay.
And so that was one of my biggest things. I didn't do gels before, and I just went out.
You just did it.
Went out. Yeah.
Okay.
But
what were you thinking about?
As many more, I did more marathons. I got into that intake, and it's gotten better each time. And I think I've only perfected it one time. So now that's my goal, is to continue to
be consistent. Okay. What?
But thinking, going back to your original question, like thinking what I'm thinking. I mean, I don't know.
Because it's a couple hours.
Yeah,
there's you and yourself.
Exactly, and it's usually I'm thinking ahead of, okay, if I get to I need to get to this point at this time, and then this point, this time, this one, and then you kind of just go from there, and making sure my biggest thing is confirming that I'm going to get that intake in. Okay.
So you say focus because that's probably frequent enough to keep your focus on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Staying on your nutrition, and then enjoying the moment. I mean, it's hard to enjoy the moment too when you're like, especially when you've been training all this 6 months or whatever, how long you train. If you do 16 weeks or whatnot. For others, it could be all year. You're training for this one thing, and then you get to that point. Enjoy the scenery, and usually Houston has a good crowd, so that's
I went to support the last one. Oh my God, I felt so emotional, like just being there. And I was like, first of all, I really want to do it. Second, I'm so proud of all of these strangers. Like, that is so cool. And then I saw people, I was like, I didn't know you were running. So I started tracking all my friends, like little, like little Sims, but I just knocked over my water. I was so proud of them because, whether you trained for 6 months or 3 months or, you're just trying it out, like that is a really cool accomplishment to be able to like, push your body to be able to run that amount. And it's not just like physical. I believe that sports,
it's mental.
Yeah, it's mental.
It's so like the marathon is so much mental than it could be like physical, I think.
That's why I tell people, and that's why it's important to like have a strong mindset, and like that inner dialogue has got to be good, helpful, confident, and strong, because I know like I've run like 7 miles max, right? I'm like, wow, 5 miles, I don't want to do this. You can talk yourself out of anything. You can be like, no, we're good, like this was good enough. But you can also tell yourself, no, don't quit, keep going, move your legs one foot in front of another. And so that's why I asked kind of what do you talk about. And so if you've had doubts while running, like what do you tell yourself? What does that inner dialogue look like?
I've had that lots of times because you hit the wall, and so it's at that point is trying to get it done. And for me, I had a good friend who passed away from cancer. He was a huge runner, and Ryan, and this year he got me through it, and I was emotional. I cried I was crying the last mile, basically
running for him.
Yeah, and it was super emotional because like that last mile, it was windy, it was cold. But then when we turned the final, like basically that last mile, I really felt an air, and that tailwind actually was like, wow. And that got me super emotional. I have a picture of it, like when I'm like crossing. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you felt like he was there with you, like physically pushing you.
For sure.
Oh, that's so nice. That's sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, but because it's hard.
Yeah, it is hard.
Yeah, I'm also sorry to hear about your friend.
Oh yeah.
Rest in peace, Ryan.
Ryan Terry. Yep.
Ryan Terry. Well, what's another reason you run? I mean, because this is one that like you didn't bring up at the beginning, but do you run for other people, for yourself?
Yeah, those who can't run.
Those who can't. I love that. And with sports, we say like play for those who can't as well, because there are people who are not able, like we're so able-bodied to even be able to wake up and walk. Like to be able to do your sport is such a privilege. And we can't do this forever, right? You can't run forever. Maybe I don't know. I don't know how long, but yeah. For those who can't is a really good reason. Yeah, I have a friend, I don't think you might listen to his episodes, John Capo, and he's running marathons around the world, and he's doing it, you know, for a good cause as well. Do you have any, I guess, do you have any foundations or organizations that you support with your running? Because you're, you know,
I mean,
well known.
We do a lot through, so Freaks Run Club, we have a lot there. And then I also go to Good Guys Run Club, and they also work with Addies and Angels, and there's so many. Catapult is also another big one.
Okay. So yeah, contributing, because I was about to say you run so much, like you probably first of all are making a following online, and you know people know you, and you're a good mentor as well, and so people will probably look up to you with your speed and your just how kind you are, and you're all over the place. But
I try to be.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool. Is there, as we come to really kind of the conclusion of the episode, is there anything you think I maybe missed or anything that you wanted to talk about?
I don't know.
No? I normally end with like giving the guest the floor and saying, you know, if you want to give any one piece of advice, whether that be about flying or running or just life in general, or if you want to give anyone a shout out, now's your time.
I mean, never give up. Everyone's going to have their days, you know. Life is hard, very hard. And so when you think you can't, you can. And just live one day at a time, one step at a time, and build those blocks from today, building blocks for tomorrow.
Yeah. I love that. And that's actually so on brand, because I was going to mention June is Mental Health Awareness Month for men. Yeah. And, you know, I mean, a lot of men take their lives, and it's really...
Yeah, that's why I have this one is 22 a day. Which is 22 veterans.
As well, yes.
So that's kind of a big thing for me. So
yeah. I mean, God, if there's like, I don't know, more of a way to support, like, I just feel like people should do it.
Yeah, taking a moment of silence, you know, just think about those who can't. Yeah. And whatever they can do, you know.
Yeah. And so, okay, so that puts more meaning behind, like, you know, running for those who can't as well. Wow. Oh, that was beautiful, Louie. Seriously. Oh, well, it's been so fun having you here. I've learned so much. I'm pretty sure my audience has learned quite a lot as well. It's been a really cool experience getting to ask you all the questions. Thank you for being patient. I told you it wasn't that nerve-wracking.
I know, right?
Right? You can relax. You're probably sweating.
No.
Yeah. But
this is harder than flying a plane.
I was about to say no. I was about to spin it off and be like, "You fly planes. This is not no, and it's not even public speaking. This is not live." Yeah, until people.
That's
hear
true.
it.
That's true.
Yeah. So thank you so much. You did it. I'm proud of you. Again, seriously, thank you for your time. I'm gonna maybe put you on the spot. Could you do a cool like exit? Like, what would you say? Like landing in your pilot voice. You can end the show somehow.
That was on the spot.
Yeah, I did. Can you land the plane?
I'll just say welcome to Houston.
Okay, fine.
Have a nice day.
Okay, thanks.
You have made it to Houston.
We have made it to Houston. Thank you, everyone. Please keep your seatbelts on.
Stay seated with your seatbelts fastened.
And take that for life. Cool. All right. Thank you, everyone. And have a happy Thursday.